Alright, what's up everybody? We're here again, Shonen Hoops. You already know what we're doing. Well, today we're actually not talking about hoops, we're talking about the shonen half. We're going to be talking about what Omar and me think are the 3 best starter animes to watch if you're not into anime yet. So, I'll give a little hint of what I started with. I kind of started with old school anime. My older brother taught me about it. It was I actually started with Sailor Moon and Saint Seiya. Those are 90s animes. Animes has gotten way better since then. And we're gonna suggest some here. So Omar, you want to take it away?
Yep, I'll start. I'll say again, I started my anime with Mazinger Z and Old School Gundam, and again, I can never say we should watch those first because a lot of people will be turned off by the old animation.
Yeah.
Same thing for you, which is probably another reason I can never say One Piece as a first anime.
Yeah.
The animation to start is not great.
I mean,
but I digress.
Yeah, it's also more the commitment of it.
Yes.
1,100 episodes is kind of a lot for a beginner to be like,
You're right. All right, but let's get into it. Let's get into it. So for me, I'll start going from 3, 2, and then what I think the best one is.
Okay, all right.
Okay. So for 3, I think I'll say, just to give homage to my mecha side, would be Gurren Lagann.
Okay.
Gurren Lagann is something you're gonna get out of any super mecha genre. Plus, it has a little bit more story than what most super robot stories have. So which I really appreciate about it. You get the cool fight scenes, the animation's really good. And I believe it came out over a decade ago now, right?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, and it aged very well. Really appealing story and a couple plot twists in there that I didn't really expect.
Yeah.
All right. For number 2, it's not. I'm gonna say this is not animes I think are like necessarily really good, but as a starter, I think My Hero Academia is another one.
Okay, really? Okay.
As a good starting point, absolutely. It's a basic story to follow. Animation's really good. The music is phenomenal.
Okay.
Like there's things you can point to, like this is why My Hero's a good starting point. I think there's a lot of better shows that came around that sound like. I think Attack on Titan's a better anime than My Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Jujutsu Kaisen's better.
What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about? What you talking about?
Anime than My Hero, but as a starting point, My Hero is really easy to get into.
Okay, that's fair. It also was like a part of that boom of like new gen animes. So I'll give it its props.
Yeah, and then number 1, I to be honest, for me, I don't even think it's a debate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, of course, but I very hard stance on my Full Metal Alchemist.
Mm-hmm.
Is my opinion like the best anime to start with. It's a good length of anime. It's like 60-ish episodes.
Mm-hmm.
The story impeccable, music impeccable, animation's good. You get what anime is.
Yeah.
Like you get a little bits and part of what an actual anime. It's so good.
Yeah. So I agree. I'm gonna actually start then 1 to 3 because I completely agree. My number 1 was also Full Metal Alchemist, but we are talking Brotherhood here. Do not watch.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Do not watch the original because the original has its whole anime only ending. But just like Omar was saying, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, it's such a compacted story in 60 episodes, but it keeps you on your toes because they bring to life the side characters. They bring to life the enemies. They really envelop you into this world and make you want to care about it. I've only watched it 1 time so far, but it's one of those shows that you could probably just keep watching over and over, and you'll
Absolutely.
always find another reason to enjoy a different character than you enjoyed the first time around. So I think also I agree. I think Full Metal Alchemist is still the number 1 rated anime in my anime list. It speaks for itself. So make sure to check that one out if you guys want to give it a try, give anime a try. And then the more unknown ones, which is actually the animes that I kind of recommended my friends back in 2008 when anime wasn't really too big, was Death Note. I think Death Note kind of tricks the brain into getting into something that's more dramatic because not everybody's too into the shonen superpowers, and obviously Death Note has its mysteries. It has its brain teasing and a really big twist during the season as you're watching, and it's one of those it's one of the first times where you really want to see not what a hero looks like, but what an anti-hero can look like, and kind of seeing how that whole life plans out in itself.
I will say personally,
Mhm.
like I wasn't the biggest fan of Death Note.
Really, I mean,
I think Code Geass is a better Death Note, personally.
I never seen Code Geass, so I can't really give it up. But I think Death Note, for what it was and how it ended and how it still kind of like people still talk about it now. I think it's only I think like 30 episodes.
Yeah, it's really short.
So
really short.
I kind of went toward the shortness for people who want to try it out.
That's fair.
Then so the first two that I named, I think they were both kind of like a shoujo. So the last one I'm gonna name it's a kind of for the adult, viewers, adult like males, females. It's gonna be Erased. I don't know if you've never heard of it, but so the whole story of Erased is basically about a guy that sees his mom. I'm just gonna say the first episode, right? So something happens to his mom, which makes the whole story revolve, where he has to like figure out why that thing happened to his mom. And that anime single-handedly brought back a lot, kind of like the Death Note feels of just like it's all about psychological stuff, and it just really messes with the brain. And I think it's always enjoyable because of the twist, and it's not so much of like, I will say that sometimes animes can get really, they kind of do the fan service thing a lot, where a lot of shoujo does that. So I kind of went away from that a little bit. And if you want something that's just kind of like give more meaning to life and stuff like that, I recommend Erased. So Omar, do you have any honorable mentions?
Yes, I do.
All right,
I do. So, I think another really, if you wanted to get away from the shonen superpowers, I think Your Lie in April.
That's what I was gonna say. Yeah,
is a very good first anime. I think I prefer Your Lie in April more than a Death Note watch. And Your Lie in April is only 20 episodes, 21.
Yeah, I think it's literally like 20.
Very short. It's a really good story.
Since you said Your Lie in April, I'm gonna go with, so funny enough, an anime that really, for some reason, also I would recommend to a lot of people was it's something called Future Diary. It's got Mirai Nikki. I don't know why, but like back in the day, it's always easy. Especially this is actually a lot more with my female friends, that they'd be into Mirai Nikki because it was a lot of psychological stuff. And for some reason, the beginning animes for people always kind of like stick in them a lot more when it's about kind of more not realistic, but like more psychological stuff, instead of like we're saying, like not too much superheroes. But Mirai Nikki is about like it's a good watch because it's about obsession and love and stuff like that. And then my last one, if you want something kind of like lighthearted, I claim myself as a romantic comedy king, so there's so many that are out there. But if you want something that's kind of like the top of the top, I do recommend an anime called Kaicho wo Maid-sama. If you need something to tug at your heart for a little bit, you're tired of having to put up the front, and you want something just to relax and just be like, man, I wish I had that. Well, give it a try, and those are my two honorable mentions that are a little bit different. If you guys have any other animes that you'd recommend to watch first that we didn't mention, maybe when you watched anime as a kid, or even maybe cartoons that were very inspired by anime, what would you recommend? Yeah.
So if you have any recommendations for us, I know I'm always looking for recommendations now. Now that I'm caught up on One Piece, I have a lot of time in animes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up here. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.
Peace.